Hey yo, what's good, everybody? The Who That Nation, guess one and only Who That Davis here for you. And if you don't know, you will know over here. We bleed black and gold until we are dead and cold. And thank you guys for checking out this live edition of the Black and Gold Breakdown podcast. Yes, sir, we are back with live content here on the BG Breakdown podcast. I am so incredibly excited. Thank you guys so much for your filing in, you checking out the channel, or if you're checking out the channel for the very first time, go ahead and do me and a favor. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below. It's that big button down there next to the name of the channel that literally says subscribe. Make sure you hit that notification bell so you always get notifications of when your boy goes live with content. I see B Con is already here. I appreciate you showing up, B Con. I see you down there, fam. I appreciate you always. You've been hitting me up on my podcast, on my episodes and all that. Look, all love to you. And everybody else that's here, man. So hungry for Saints news. I got you, man. I got you. If you guys haven't heard, tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we got a special guest, my very first special guest of the week. I implemented this last month, been working on it, and I am proud to say that we have TJ Jones, the host, the State of the Saints podcast, coming on to the channel tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you guys haven't heard of TJ Jones, I recommend highly that you go over there to search up YouTube, search the State of the Saints podcast. Go check out his channel, check out his content. One of the best out there to do it. Very well respected. He's got sponsors, he's got merch, he's got it going on over there. Go on his Facebook page, also search the State of the Saints podcast if you're over there on Facebook, or you can hit him up on his Twitter if you guys over there on Twitter. And speaking of Twitter, oh man, do I got news for you guys. You know what I'm saying? Look, let's go ahead and get right down to the thick of it. We're going to get into first the NFL and the NFLPA as of today putting out an update on their policies regarding vaccinated and unvaccinated players. I'm not going to get into the whole spiel with the whole details, but I'm going to gloss over the important bits of what you guys need to be keeping up with, and I'll provide a link if I can in the comment section after this live stream is over, so you guys can get yourself as informed as possible so you can make decisions. Basically, the division between vaccinated and unvaccinated players has just grown even wider, with punishments coming down hard on unvaccinated players around the league, such as the NFL informed clubs today that if a game cannot be rescheduled during the 18-week season because of a COVID outbreak among unvaccinated players, the team with the outbreak will forfeit. Yes, they will forfeit a game and credit a loss for the playoff seeding. There's more implications here, such as the NFL is going to be handing out a lot of punishment. The biggest one. Check this out. Let me find it right here. The biggest one of all for players. If a game is canceled, it cannot be rescheduled within the 18-week period, with an 18-week game period for the 2021 season because of a COVID outbreak. Neither team will receive their weekly paragraph 5 salary. If you don't know what a week paragraph 5 salary is, that means, to put it simply, if a game is canceled because of the COVID-19 outbreak and it can't be rescheduled anywhere during the 18-week season, neither team is going to be paid. So let's say the Saints, for simplicity's sake, in a COVID outbreak, and that game can't be rescheduled anywhere during the 18-week period. So let's say during the latter half of the season, right? Let's say week 16, they catch a COVID outbreak, and that game can't be rescheduled anywhere during that period. The New Orleans Saints just cost not only their team, but their opposing team their weekly paycheck. That's rough. That is extremely, extremely rough. Now, in terms of, COVID testing during the week, vaccinated players who test positive and are asymptomatic, meaning they're not showing any signs, right? Vaccinated players who test positive for COVID-19 and are asymptomatic can return to duty after 2 negative tests 24 hours apart. So let's say, for example, Cameron Jordan ended up catching COVID-19 and he was vaccinated. Negative for COVID-19 twice within 24 hours of each other. Guess what that means? That means he can return to duty just like that. Whereas unvaccinated players will still be subject to a mandatory 10-day isolation period. We saw that implemented last year during the COVID-19 outbreak. Again, that's huge. And the NFL and NFLPA really coming down hard on these unvaccinated players. And it's really caused a rift. It's caused a rift on Twitter. It is a cesspool right now on Twitter. From DeAndre Hopkins voicing his discontent with NFLPA to Butler, Brandon Butler, to Stephon Diggs, to Cole Beasley. We've seen this draw a rift between the vaccinated and unvaccinated players, and people are coming out hard on these players for not choosing to opt for the COVID-19 vaccine. I'm talking about fans, analysts. They're coming out hard on these guys. And honestly, I don't think that's really fair. I don't think that's honestly fair. Here's where I'm at. I don't care either way if they have a COVID-19 vaccine or not. I say this because let's to the Saints real quick. Let's keep it to the Saints real quick, and then we'll talk more on Saints news with Paulson Adebo. Paulson Adebo has been getting some scrutiny from Saints Twitter for his vocal discontent or displeasure to getting a vaccine. He is one of the anti-vaxxers, as Twitter so eloquently puts it. Paulson Adebo is not a good look for the Saints right now as a whole on Twitter. Like, everybody's not looking forward to seeing him on the field. They're hoping Sean Payton cuts him. They're hoping that he never sees the field until he gets a vaccine. It's just a whole slew of things. Now, that's their opinion. I mean, they can have that opinion. I'm not going to say they're wrong for that. I mean, we live in a country where, freedom of expression is a thing. But I'm here to say just tone it back. Just tone it back a little. Like, Paulson Adebo, if anything, he's not ignorant. That's where I'm at. And I doubt that Paulson Adebo is going to be the sole reason that the Saints that he cost the Saints any forfeits in the season. I really don't. Even if he was named like the starting corner going into this year, I really don't think he's going to be the sole reason. I really don't. I mean, like I said, if anything, Paulson Adebo is not an ignorant guy. So I think people just need to just relax a little. Just relax. Let's chill. Honestly, I think this offseason of having no football with the whole COVID talk has got everybody aggravated and whatnot. They're tired of hearing about it. I'm sure it's like I'm tired of hearing about it. So that can also play a factor. But either way, whether you're having a vaccine or not, so long as you're doing everything you can to keep yourself healthy, safe, not just for yourself, but people, do whatever you want, bro. Okay, that's cool. Do whatever you want. Now, that aside, it is time to get into Saints news. Yes, what y'all came here for, Saints news. First off, it is a new era for the Superdome. If you guys haven't heard yet, in case you missed it, name Mercedes-Benz Superdome, or it is now going to be called Caesars Superdome. You heard it right, Caesars Superdome. Now, if you're Cesar Ruiz, you're probably pretty happy about that because it's kind of named after you. But yes, it is official. New era of dome football for the Saints is here with Caesars Superdome. And I honestly can't wait. I have my intentions of going to the one of these home games this year, probably the home opener against the Green Bay Packers. Like, that's going to be a really, really fun time. Means for the Saints, they're doing some renovating inside to where they're going to have some box seats. They're going to have some some VIP areas where they're pretty much down like field level seating. That's going to be fun. I mean, I'm really looking forward to that. It's going to be really interesting. Now, how they go up to the stands when they have to score a touchdown remains to be seen. But I'm very excited for them. I'm very excited for the Dome. And all honesty, guys, new era of football couldn't have come at a better time. With Drew Brees out, Mercedes-Benz is all Drew. Caesar Superdome is either all Taysom Hill or all Jameis Winston, who I believe is going to be the number one starter come the start of the regular season. Speaking of Jameis Winston and Taysom Hill, let's talk a little bit about this quarterback battle coming up in training camp. Look, guys, whether you're a Taysom Hill supporter or not, you have to understand that Taysom Hill is served to be the gadget player, the all-around gadget player for the New Orleans Saints. There's no other way around that. Taysom Hill does so much for the team, whether he's playing the slot receiver, he sees the halfback, he sees special teams. He is a mismatch nightmare for opposing special teamers and defenses. They keeps the defense honest and on their toes, which opens up more opportunities for guys around him, such as JT Gray, a very key special teams guy, a core special teams guy that got a lot of looks and a lot of plays on special teams because of what Taysom Hill commands with his presence alone. When you're on offense, where he's playing down in the slot, or if he's playing that halfback, or he's playing that tight end, so much doing the quarterback powers, where our third and shorts or somewhere in the Taysom Hill is that guy that really opens up a lot of stuff. He's a physical guy. He can run a lot of routes. He's very crisp with his routes. He can get you those extra yards. During the 2019 wildcard round, Taysom team on his back to keep in position to win the game and advance to the divisional. Taysom Hill is best served in those type of roles. Let's go no further. Let's go back to 2018. Excuse me, away game. Tampa Bay. He came up clutch. 2018, 2019. I believe it was 2019. No, it was 2018. Excuse me, 2018 on the road against the Bucs. He's played. He blocked, which set up the Saints beautifully in Bucs territory. And they went on a roll. They gained momentum and never let it go after that. That's what Hill can give you. If you put Taysom Hill in a sole quarterback role, you're not only going to be crippling what he can do as a player, but you're going to be crippling the type of production the Saints can have as a whole, not just offensively, but special teams as well. Taysom Hill is not a guy that can, he has a big arm, but we compare his throwing mechanics to Jameis Winston, it's night and day. I've gotten some arguments that Taysom Hill was a Heisman semifinalist, or he's a Heisman finalist. Yes, I've gotten those two things effectively from many different people between Facebook and Twitter. Okay, a semifinalist that's a finalist for the Heisman versus a guy who's actually won a Heisman, who's actually won a national championship in Florida State. I'd rather take my chances with the guy that actually won a Heisman trophy if you're going to use that to try to win an argument or try to win a debate, excuse me. Taysom Hill throws ducks, wobbly ducks. If you haven't noticed the wobbly ducks, look at the games he's played in the four game starts, minus the most recent, his last game on the road against the Atlanta Falcons. He throws wobbly ducks. He doesn't throw open. He doesn't go through his progressions the way he should. His throwing mechanics are clunky at best. But with Jameis Winston, he gives you so much more. Not only that, he's been working out with several key Saints players this offseason. Now, that's not to say Taysom Hill probably hasn't been doing that, but from what I have to go off of, I'm going off of the fact that Taysom Hill just really doesn't have that chemistry going into training camp, whereas Jameis Winston has a leg up. It's his job to lose. Notable names such as Deontay Harris, who's going to have even more of a more load on his shoulders probably going to be more featured in offense, whereas Lawrence Wood, an undrafted, return man, is going to be taking over those snaps. We're probably going to see what he does during the preseason games. Number 2, Juwan Johnson. If you guys haven't seen my recent community posts, Juwan Johnson just received major praise from defensive star of the Saints, CD Deuce, a.k.a. C.J. Gardner-Johnson. C.J. Gardner-Johnson just compared Juwan Johnson to Megatron. He called him Baby Megatron. That's some high praise from a guy that's been an instant impact coming on to Juwan Johnson, Baby Megatron. Come on, man. Come on. You can't tell me you're not excited for that. And he's been working out with Jameis Winston. If you're not believing yet, how about Lil Jordan Humphrey? Lil Jordan Humphrey is a guy who now compelled to have, I would say, a starting role in the offense. Not only blocking ability in the run game, but when his number, Lil Jordan Humphrey made the most out of his opportunities. He was the guy that caught a touchdown pass before Michael Thomas this year. Now, granted, Michael Thomas had injury, so I'm not saying he's better than Michael Thomas, but that fact still remains that when his number was called and when the Saints needed a big-time play, Lil Jordan Humphreys was there against the former reigning defending Super Bowl champs and the Kansas City Chiefs with just over 2 minutes to go. The Saints were in position to make a comeback of the week if they were to have just stopped the offensive of Patrick and the big tight end ability of Travis Kelce. Or if you're not too sold on that, what about week 17? He was one of the best run blockers in that game, and he accounted for two first down receptions. One was on a 2-minute drive during the end of the first half. Excuse me. Or how about the wild card game? Lord John Humphreys, 3rd and 12. Drew Brees needed a mid. He found Lord John Humphreys. Lord John Humphreys scrambles for 17. 17. And the throw was 5 yards behind the yard to gain. Lord John Humphreys is hungry. Lord John Humphreys is finding his rhythm. He is a physical guy who can get downfield, who can open up stuff for you over the middle of the field or down the field. He's been doing that since his entire collegiate career in Texas. That's what Lord Jordan Humphreys can give you. And now he's poised. With Juwan Johnson now being slotted over to tight end, it's his spot to lose. Or what about Adam Troutman? A big fish. It's big fish season. Big Fish also worked out with Jameis Winston when Jameis Winston went over to Carolina. They got some major work. Big Fish with Jameis Winston and Juwan Johnson with Jameis Winston. Jameis Winston pretty much has Cameron Brate and Adam Troutman. He has his Cameron Brate and Adam Troutman, and he's going to potentially have his OJ Howard and Juwan Johnson. Now, that's a bit of a stretch, I know, but just think about it. Just think about it. The fact of the matter is, anybody who wants Taysom Hill to be the starting quarterback of the New Orleans Saints is kidding themselves. I think you guys are kidding yourselves. I think it's more of you don't want to see Jameis Winston be a starter. More so, you want Taysom Hill to be a starter. What it boils down to. Some people want to talk about the fumbles, the issue with the fumbles, and his decision-making ability. Okay, let's talk about that real quick. I'll talk about that real quick, and then we'll get into the comments. I see a lot of people filing in. Big shout out to everybody. Love y'all. Let's go ahead and get into the statistics real quick. If you guys haven't heard already, talk about this on TJ's podcast sometime last week or the week before. Jameis Winston since entering the league in 2016. Okay, let's talk about it. The intermediate rate. Jameis Winston is first in the league with 33.3%. 33.3. Over 1/3 of the intermediate rates were a success. That's still first in the league. And now keep in mind, all these stats are factoring in that he did not have a starting role in 2020. Keep this in mind. Keep this in mind when I'm telling you all this. Air yards per attempt is 10.6 yards. That's still ranked first in the NFL since 2016. How about the tight window rate? Can Jameis Winston fit it into tight coverage? We've seen Drew Brees do that. What about Jameis Winston? How about a 19.7 tight window rate, which ranks third, top 3 in the NFL since 2016? How about that? You guys want to talk about touchdown and interception ratios where there's more to it to being a starting quarterback. I'm listening just a little bit of it. Pass the sticks percentage. You guys want to talk about pass the sticks, being efficient with the football and making better decisions? Drew Brees has done this since 2017 with the pass the sticks rate. He's been one of the best to do it. Jameis Winston on third down, mind you, when you need to make a play, is 63.1%. That's still ranked first in the NFL. Jameis Winston is still ranked number 1 in pass the sticks percentage on third down. And a lot of that is in the red zone. Guys. Think about that. His red zone efficiency is still ranked top 10, ranked 5th in the NFL. Jameis Winston is top 5 in red zone efficiency. Now, in third downs, overall, this isn't just factoring in red zone. This is overall. On third down, it's ranked first in the NFL. Just think about that, guys. What about the pass success rate? The pass success rate, everybody wants to talk about, well, the Taysom Hill supporters, they want to talk about the pass attempts for Taysom Hill is over 70%, with a minimum of 100 pass attempts. It's ranked 70.3%. In the 4-game stretch, okay, man, but that's only 4 games with less than 1 year. And Jameis Winston, since 2016, has the pass success rate of 47.3%, which is top 10 in the NFL, ranked number 6. So he's played since 2016, and he still ranks top 10. With 2020 not being the year where he was a starter, he was a backup, and he was still top 10, ranked number 6. Imagine that, guys. Imagine that. Please imagine that for a second. And here and trying to convince me that Taysom Hill is a better starting quarterback for the Saints than Taysom Hill is. You just don't want to see you just don't want to see Jameis Winston at starting quarterback position, and I don't understand why. If you guys want to talk about the 10 fumbles, or sorry, the 12 fumbles Jameis Winston had in 2019, let's talk about the fact that Taysom Hill just less than a year ago finished the year where he had 10 fumbles over a 7-game stretch. So you've got 12 fumbles over an entire 16 to 17 game season in 2019 versus a 10 fumbles in over just 4 games in 7-game stretch. 10 fumbles in 7 games, whereas Jameis Winston had 12 over a whole year. It's no-brainer, guys. I think Jameis Winston is going to be more than just fine. Sean Payton is a guy who knows how to put his players in position to succeed. If you guys really want Taysom Hill to succeed, you won't want to advocate to take him out of his starting position as a gadget player. It's just not going to work. You're trying to kid yourselves, and I'm not falling for that. Let's go ahead and read some of these comments here. Let's see a lot of people filing in, man. A lot of people filing in. Shout out to Be Kind. We got Be Kind here. We got Jerry Paul. What's going on, Jerry? Shouting me out. Shouts out to your brother. Good to see you here, man. Yes, my man. I'm so happy. I'm so happy to be back. Think it's about the money. MGMT wants full house and merch sales. Honestly, I just think it's a little uncalled for that these guys are being scrutinized so heavily by not only analysts but also their fellow fans, or sometimes even their fellow players. Like, I can understand them not wanting to get a vaccine. I can get it, so long as they're taking care of their body to make sure doing it off the field to where they contract COVID and spread it along with anybody else to really hurt their team. What's the problem? That's where I'm at. Everybody's just going nuts on Twitter. Everybody. The division is just real. Jerry Porter says, glad you're back. I'm happy to be back, man. I'm so happy to be back. WD, what's going on, WD? Look, shout out to the WD Chatline Podcast, man. WD Chatline Podcast consists of this man right here, WD for Life. He does their highlight videos. He does their tribute videos to Saints players. He does it all for them over there. And you got the ringleader, CB, the Carly, one of the best out there, rated in terms of females who know what they're talking about. Carly does well in speaking for them. Shouts out to Carly, man. I had a little debate about the stance on the COVID vaccine, but like I said, man, it's no hate over here. Over here, you have your stance, I have mine. I have nobody. So Carly, keep doing what you're doing. You got my support regardless. You got Chemo Slice. What's going on, Chemo? Good to see you, brother. Happy to see you here. Who that, Dave? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Let's go ahead and read down some of these comments. Let's get into some of these. Hit that like button. Yes, sir. Hit that like button, man. It takes 2 seconds to hit that like button. 2 seconds. That's it. 2 seconds of your time. You got ENT. What's going on, ENT? Look, I featured one of your videos. I featured one of your highlight videos. I think it was you highlighting one of your videos in a recent video I did regarding Saints predictions for the NFC South. I think it was one of yours. But if it wasn't, either way, welcome, bro. I'm glad you're here. ENT says, I've been screaming Winston should be the quarterback for the Saints ever since people were looking for Russell to come to the Saints. Look, there was no chance of Russell Wilson ever coming to the New Orleans Saints. Ever. I mean, anybody that wanted to see Russell Wilson or saying Russell Wilson was definitely coming to the Saints, kidding themselves, man. But Jameis Winston is a really good pickup. You know, I was a little iffy about it at first, but he's won me over because he's been really putting in work this offseason. That video with Jameis and Traquan working out gives me a lot of confidence. With that being said, let's not take too much stock in the workout videos, even though it is something that's really nice to go off of. With that being said, I'm very excited for the Jameis Winston Traquan Smith connection to work this season. When I saw that touchdown pass in the divisional game against the Bucs, I was so hyped. Man, I was hyped. Like, he made it look effortless. And now they've been really putting in work. Now, with Michael, people have asked me, with that being said, why hasn't Alvin Kamara and Michael Thomas not worked out with Jameis Winston this offseason if he's supposed to be the guaranteed starting quarterback for the Saints? There's a couple of reasons for that. And I'm going to go into Mike Thomas because Alvin Kamara has already made his point known. Michael Thomas is for a number of reasons. Number one, if your star receiver, one of the best in the league, is working out publicly with a certain quarterback over another, then that's really going to tip the scales and tip the hand of your head coach and what the plans they got going forward. So we all know how Sean Payton loves his secrecy. So Michael neutral is really important. On top of the fact that he's still nursing an injury from week 1 of last year. It was a high ankle sprain. He also, from what I understand, he's torn some other ligaments in his ankle. He's still getting treatment for that, but Sean Payton says so far so good. No issues as of yet. So it's a really good bet that Michael Thomas is going to be in game shape one against the Green Bay Packers. Jerry Post says, like the new setup, Aaron. Look, I appreciate it, man. I really do appreciate it. Look, I've been feeling with this almost 2 weeks now. And it's a really good setup. I like it. I'm gonna keep up with it a lot more. It's really something that I've come to love. We got Ghostface here. What's going on, Ghostface? Haven't seen you in a hot minute. Hope you've been doing good. Hope you've been staying safe out here in this crazy country going on right now. But look, at the end of the day, guys, as far as the NFL and NFLPA go, I can understand why they're doing this. Okay, they're a private business. They're a private business. They have the right to make up any rules they can to make sure they maintain the best interests as possible. And I'm not saying it's not. Yeah, I'm not saying it's detrimental that people get vaccinated, right? Because it's obviously beneficial for a lot of reasons, and I can understand that. But it's, from my perspective, it's more like they're really punishing players for not getting a vaccine than they are trying to protect people. And that's that's where I'm at. Now, training camp, the battles. Yes. Okay. Other than the QB battle, I'm very much looking forward to seeing what the Saints do at the defensive tackle position, because in case you missed it, David Onyemata is going to be suspended for 6 games. 6 games. David Onyemata suspended for 6 games due to illegal substance that he took. I believe it was an illegal supplement that he took, and honestly, it doesn't look good. When you just got your big payday, when you've just come off one of your breakout seasons with the Saints, when you're really going to be needed to anchor down the middle of that defensive line, the strength of the New Orleans Saints for 2 to 3 seasons, that hurts. There is no underselling. There is no underselling that David Onyemata missing 6 games is going to be big. So who does that leave? Well, that leaves Shy Tuttle. Shy Tuttle has gotten better and better with every rep. You have Malcolm Roach. With the amount of games he's actually played as a starter from week 1 to week 2, a couple of games in between as a rotational piece when Malcolm Brown went down to injury, he's looked really good. He's got good level. Okay, he has a high motor. It's just he needs to be able to sustain that a little bit more. That's where I'm at with Malcolm Roach. Then you have Lorenzo Neal, a undrafted defensive tackle out of Purdue. He's a big boy, a great run stuffer. He can anchor down. He can really, really play that run well. Not much of a pass rusher, but that's where I believe Malcolm Roach is going to be featured. Then you have Josiah Bronson, another undrafted defensive tackle out of really sought out there as one of the top undrafted prospects coming into this season. So Josiah Bronson making some looks. You got Ryan Glasgow, who looked really good during the Denver game last season. He's looked really good in a 1 game against the Atlanta Falcons. He's elusive, good shoulder pad level. He plays with aggression. Glasgow can fill in pretty good. At the end of the day, it's more about keeping afloat than it is trying to replace Onyemata. You can't replace Onyemata's production, period. But you can definitely keep above water until he comes back. So I'm really interested in seeing what they do to answer this situation. I don't think they need to sign any free agent defensive tackles. I really don't. Atkins is a guy that I wouldn't mind on the Saints. I think they have like in the tool shed to keep their head above water, with Malcolm Roach and Shy Tuttle being your 2 starting defense in rotation, with either Lorenzo Neal, Ryan Glasgow, or Josiah Bronson. I think either of those 3 line in rotation. Now, defensive end is another story. Defensive end is really interesting because of what Peyton Turner has already done off the field for Marcus Davenport. Some of you guys are going to ask me right now, what has Peyton Turner done for Marcus Davenport? He managed to get, if you guys don't have Twitter already, this guy ended up motivating Marcus Davenport to put out a workout video. Coach BT Jordan. If you guys don't know who Coach BT Jordan is, he's the one that Peyton Turner has been working out with all off season. And now Marcus Davenport hopped on that train, and they've just put out a workout video a couple days ago. Marcus Davenport is sounding a little more like a leader. If you guys haven't seen the interview he had during minicamp when he talked about Peyton Turner, he sounds a lot more confident in himself. He said he's worked on his mental side of the game, and that's honestly I honestly believe it. He didn't look all that confident outside of 2018 with a little bit of 2019 because of the injuries. When you get injured so much, you start to wonder, you really play at a high level without injuring yourself. But Coach BT Jordan is the guy who's really going to get Marcus Davenport in the right place. And this is officially a offseason where Marcus Davenport has been honestly fully healthy. No injuries to speak of, no toe injuries, no thumb injuries, none of that. This is, I believe, Marcus Davenport's first full offseason where he's completely healthy. Now, if he can translate that to training camp, and he can look good a little bit during the first quarter of the season, we might have something. But can he maintain that health is going to be the ultimate outlier. But Peyton Turner is already rubbing off a little bit on Marcus Davenport on that front, because before then, when was the last time we ever seen Marcus Davenport put out a workout video with anybody? When was the last time we saw that? We have not. I haven't seen it. I sure haven't seen it before 2 days ago. That's what Peyton Turner has done, not only with Marcus Davenport, but others on that defensive line. With his charisma, his off the field antics, it's infectious. You can start to see why the Saints chose him as the best player available on their board. I really hope to see Peyton Turner get some looks. As far as Carl Granderson is still putting in his work. He's looked really good in the 2 seasons that he's been here so far. This is going to be, I believe, his 3rd year with the Saints. He was here 2019, 2020. Carl Granderson's looked better and better. He finished the year with 6 sacks last year. He finished 2020 with 6 sacks. His spin move is probably one of the best in the NFC and one of the best in the NFL. He's a great rotational guy. You're going to see Marcus Davenport and Carl Granderson use a lot more, and Peyton Turner on. Let's read a couple more of these comments here, man. Let's read something. Let's go with Chemo. What's going on, Chemo? Yes, sir. What do you think we should do at D tackle? Should we go after Geno Atkins? Like I said, I wouldn't mind. I would not mind at all if the Saints went after Geno Atkins. You can never have too many defensive tackles on the line. I'm right. You can never have too many. But I am of the opinion that I think the Saints have enough in the shed already with Malcolm Roach, Tuttle, Ryan Glasgow, Josiah Brunson, and especially Lorenzo Neal, that big body playing in the role of Malcolm Brown in the 3-tech. That's something that I'm really looking forward to. So while I'm not opposed to it, I wouldn't say they're in a desperate need for, a defensive tackle. But I sure the hell wouldn't mind it. I think if they're going to sign anybody in free agency, it would have to be a Xavier Howard or maybe even another linebacker like Quan Alexander. I'm going to get into that one in a minute. That's an interesting topic. Quan Alexander, yes, sir. Let's read some more of his comments before we do, though. Let's see. We've got Dada. What's going on, Dada? Yes, sir. That says James will smoke Taysom when camp starts from a quarterback standpoint. Throws, accuracy. I believe the quarterback will be named by the first preseason game. I mean, that's a fair take. I don't think that's what Sean Payton will do. He likes to play a little cat and mouse with his plans. It doesn't really reveal them until the very day of when it's too late. So I don't think a starting quarterback is going to be named until the week of the opening game against the Green Bay Packers. But I wouldn't be surprised. So with Sean Payton and Mickey Loomis, it's all about trying to sell the fact that there is an open quarterback battle. They're really trying to sell it to keep their opponents on their toes as much as possible. And for them to do that, they need to make it as fair as possible to the general public that they're getting their equal fair share at quarterback. So I don't think they're going to name a quarterback after their first preseason game, but that's a fair take. Like I said, let's go ahead and get into Saints fan Tyler. My first time reading one of the comments, brother. Welcome to the B&G Breakdown Podcast. If you've commented on one of my videos, I apologize. I haven't read it yet. With that being said, let's get into your comment. He says, I hope we re-sign Quan, add a defensive lineman and quarterback in free agency. I really hope we sign Quan Alexander also. Quan Alexander, yes, sir. Quan Alexander has been looking phenomenal ever during his rehabilitation from his Achilles tear. He's looked absolutely phenomenal. I'd say he looked even faster than when he first came here to New Orleans. That's what I believe. He's looked better and better. He recently just visited the Saints. He's just had a visit with the New Orleans Saints. He didn't come away with a contract. I believe he's still going to weigh his options. But I really hope the Saints work out a deal with Quan Alexander because let's be honest. As much as I would love to see my boy Pete Werner work a Mario Davis, it's more of a depth perspective and more of a concern at the depth behind Pete Werner that I'm not too keen on right now. Let's say Pete Werner, as sturdy and reliable as he is since Ohio State, what if he gets injured? We've got the following. We've got Zach Bond, a Wisconsin guy that's played more of an outside linebacker / an edge rusher. You've got Chase Hansen, who's rarely seen the field on the defensive side of the ball. He's definitely saying special things, but not defense. You've got, I believe that's it. Any notable names that comes off the top of my head, that is. But other than that, yeah, you definitely need depth at that linebacker position. And they like to play rotation with that, with that team. So Quan Alexander is going to be a big need, an underrated need for this team, not just from that depth perspective alone. And let's not forget that when he was here, the defense looked absolutely unstoppable. The difference between Alex Anzalone and Alexander was night and day. And I say that because what was the one thing that looked during the divisional game with the Bucs that you didn't see during the regular season with Quan? It was the running backs. It was the tight ends. Leonard Fournette picked on Alex Anzalone every time they were in the Saints and were in the red zone. Alex Anzalone could not stop him to save his life. Quan Alexander has had zero issue with any running back, whether it had been Todd Gurley, whether it had been a tight end like Hayden Hurst from Atlanta, whether it had been Noah Fant or Nick Vannett, or former Denver Bronco tight end Nick Vannett, a running back like Philip Lindsay, had zero problem. Or even the Eagles game. What about with, Sanders? He forced a fumble to give the Saints a chance to come back and win the game. He forced a fumble. Quan Alexander did. His play recognition and his speed is undeniable. Or if you're not too sure about that because they're weak teams, what about the Kansas City Chiefs, where he had Le'Veon Bell pretty much, or he was going up against slot receivers? No issue at Quan Alexander. He really is an underrated guy. You need him for your team. So if the Saints are going to get anybody, they need to get Quan Alexander first and save some money if you're going to make a play for Xavier Howard. If you're going to make a play for Xavier Howard, you better not miss. You better not miss. So a 1-year deal with Alexander and for Howard, honestly, I'd be happy with it. That would be a successful offseason for the Saints if they manage to pull all that off. And they really manage to pull all that off. The Saints will be a super team on the defensive side of the ball, especially with Chris Richard, the new secondary coach for the New Orleans Saints. Xavier Howard with Chris Richard, man, that's something. That's really something. That's going to be very, very interesting. I'm very excited for that. Let's go ahead and read some of these comments here, man. Read some more of these comments. Imagine Naked X. Look, I will be way too happy. I'll be ecstatic if they manage to get Xavier Howard. I still want to see Paulson Adebo, so I'm more for advocating for him or even Keith Washington, because I love watching him and in West Virginia. Keith Washington, but I sure as heck will not be opposed to Xavier Howard on the Saints secondary. No, sir, not at all. Will you lead the league? Will you lead the NFL in 10 interceptions? Oh, no. I am all for that. Let's read some more of these comments here, man. Let's read some more. Let's keep it going. Keep the comments going. I love it. I love it. Keep the comments going. Saints fan tells us that I made a $50 bet with a Seahawks fan that Jameis wins the starting job. Hey, look, that's an easy $50 you made right there, man. It's an easy $50. You'll be coming away with $100 on that bet. Promise you. If you put up 50 and they put up 50, you walking away with 100. You walking away with 100. Or if you bet 25, if you put 25, then you walk away with 50. Either way, you making bank. You're making some easy bank right there. I really don't think Taysom Hill beats out Jameis Winston. If he does, then that just really means Sean Payton is absolutely biased for Taysom Hill and he's trying to make a point that he can make a star quarterback out of anybody. It's like there's no need to be cute with this. There's no need to be cute with this. It's pretty self-explanatory. Because with Jameis Winston, he's also, like I said, there's not much to go off of with Taysom Hill this offseason. He hasn't really posted anything. But for what I do know of Jameis Winston and what he's been doing, not only has he been working out with the players, he's been watching a lot of film. He's working on his decision-making. He's coaching up the receivers of Deontay Harris, of Lil Jordan Humphreys, of Traquan Smith, Juwan Johnson. You've seen videos of them with him being coached as to what kind of routes he wants them to run. And that's really big. That's like huge. That's absolutely huge. Saints fan Tyler says, I follow you on Twitter. Look, I appreciate that. Look, I hope you don't get too deep into Twitter like cesspool right now with the whole division between the vaccinated and unvaccinated players. I got a little bit of heat. I wasn't major, but people are really going crazy. Just as when we thought we finally were putting COVID-19 behind us, it looks like COVID-19 is rearing its ugly head for a third wave. Like they got really spooked. COVID-19 got them spooked on Twitter, even though it's been not much of a grand place to be even before COVID-19. The thing with COVID-19, I believe it. I don't dispute the fact that COVID-19 has killed hundreds of thousands of people. All right, let's get that out of the way, guys. COVID-19 is real. It's serious. Do what you can to protect yourself. Whether you're getting a vaccine or not, the fact of the matter is you need to be smart, you need to be safe, and you need to be healthy, not just for yourself, but for the people you live with under the same roof or people you associate with on a regular basis. COVID-19 is real. All right, I mean, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. But I still believe there's more than one way that you can protect yourself and others, not just it's all or nothing with vaccine. And people trying to force these players to get the vaccine or they're going to advocate for the team to cut them or bench them or whatever. I think it's just way too extreme, guys. It's way too extreme. Way too extreme. Jerry Poor, he says adding a DT would be nice. Look, Geno Atkins, like I said, you can never have too many defensive tackles. You can never have too many defensive tackles on this team. Ryan Nielsen knows how to make use of defensive tackles. He knows it, right? He knows it really well. So if they end up going for him, great. I'm for it. Let's do it. But if not, I wouldn't be surprised. It just shows they have a lot more confidence in the guys they have on their depth chart already. Let's read one more comment. We're going to get out of here. Not going to be too big today on the stream because I'm trying to save content for tomorrow with TJ Jones. Just want to get this news out here regarding the vaccine update and the training camps going into this less than a week from now. Let's read one more here. Once fans start seeing Jameis throw bombs looking all Breeze-esque, they will understand then. While I agree, I will have to say that nobody will be able to replace Drew Brees. Like nobody. Jameis understands that, and I hope he keeps it in mind that he should never try to be like Drew Brees. Yes, you take the lessons that gave you and you add it to your repertoire. But Breeze-esque, I think, I don't know about that. But like I said, nobody can be Drew. And I hope Jameis doesn't try becoming to be Drew because he's better being Jameis Winston. Look at it like this: when you're talking, but it's interesting you bring up Drew Brees. Let's compare the stats. Touchdown and interception ratios overall the first 5 years for Jameis Winston and Drew Brees. Jameis Winston has 121 to 88. 121 to 88. Drew Brees has 84 to 50. 84 to 50. Jameis Winston has had a better 5 years in the league than Drew Brees. He has. I mean, with the exception of a couple of seasons, Jameis Winston has had an overall better 5 years in the league. And no, this is when Drew Brees was playing with the San Diego Chargers at the time. Not with the Saints, but with San Diego. And you're going to talk about the infamous 30 interceptions. Let's not pretend that Drew Brees didn't end up throwing over 16 interceptions a handful of times in the early 2010s, in the early 2010s. He's had 16. He's had over 20, I believe, once or twice. Drew Brees was a turnover machine. So let's not get this confused. Jameis Winston has yet to have a season where he's thrown more interceptions than touchdowns. Not once. It's just the volume of throws and the volume of interceptions. It was different because of one man. Bruce Arians. We've seen it with Jameis Winston. We've seen it with Ben Roethlisberger. We've seen it with Ben Simmons. We've seen it with Peyton Manning. We've seen it all. We've seen it with these guys when they have high volumes of interceptions, probably some of the highest they've had in their respective career. Like, come on. Like, yeah, he's a very, very accomplished head coach. But he's not the offensive mastermind as Sean Payton. Like, at all. Let's read a couple more here. Ghostface, she says, I'm with you on Quan. The guy's a monster when healthy. The guy is an absolute beast when he's healthy, Ghost. Very, very beast when he's healthy. Look, I'm very much looking forward to seeing him back with the Saints, back with Demario Davis. He has been working out still in Saints gear this entire offseason when rehabilitating from his torn Achilles. Every workout video you see on here on Twitter, literally every video, Saints gear. If you're a free agent and you're trying to weigh your options, you wouldn't be wearing gear from a team you're no longer on. Like, the guy's a millionaire. He can easily find others, like other type of stuff to wear. But he chose to wear Saints gear. That's a foretelling right there on its own. But hey, that's it. That's all for right now, guys. Tune in this Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, when we have TJ Jones, the host of the State of the Saints podcast, right here. I'm very much looking forward to it. It is an exciting time. I hope to see you guys there. Go ahead and file in your questions on my Facebook page. If you guys have Facebook, hit up my DMs there. Search on Facebook.com, search Black and Gold Breakdown. Or you guys are over on Twitter, go ahead and hit up my DMs at Real Aaron Davis. Those handles are going to be in the description below. And as always, it's Black and Gold until we dead and cold. I'll see you guys for that duel. Deuces.